Hi, my name is Jamie, and I'm the office manager here at MLO Law LLC. And I'm here today with Ms. Ruthleen Rye. She is our attorney in Chicago, Illinois. She also has a background in occupational therapy. And we are here today to talk about the COVID-19 pandemic and how it has been affecting our young people. I have a son, he is 17 years old, and when the pandemic first started, he started virtual learning. He has a diagnosis of autism, and it was a little difficult at first to get him acclimated to the new way of learning. We had a lot of extra energy. We had a lot of just being tired after a long day on Zoom. And it was difficult for him to focus on a computer screen all day long versus being in person, where he had a para with him for the better part of the day and teachers and kiddos all around him. So I thought that I would bring this to Rupleen and ask her some tips that she may have with our kids dealing with these types of issues.
Yes, so I do have a few tips. I think what we need to remember first and foremost is this is a really big period of uncertainty for many of us, most of us. We, especially at the start of the pandemic, didn't know what to expect, didn't kind of appreciate the enormity of the impact it was going to have on us. And so part of the reason we were so stressed out and anxious is that we didn't have the answers. We didn't even know what questions to ask. And when we as adults don't have some of those answers, it's hard for us to provide that information to our young ones, to our loved ones, our children. And as a result, that uncertainty translates. So a lot of the coping mechanisms that I would say that are good for us are also really good for our children, such as taking time to structure what your day or your week is going to look like. When we know what is expected of us, when we know what we can expect from our day, we tend to do better. We still have to be able to be flexible to manage any of the surprises that life throws at us, such as this week it's going to be a Zoom week and we're not going to be in person learning, or next week we're going to go back to school and it's in person learning again. We have to learn how to manage those moments of change in a kind of under an umbrella of knowing this is what our day is going to look like. Our day is going to look like learning. Probably this week it's going to be in person. As soon as I find out whether you're going to be in person or whether you're going to be online, I'll let you know. And just keeping them apprised of the situation. So communication is really key. Talking about the situation, talking about how does it make your child feel, talking about what are your child's thoughts, what are your child's opinions, and you tailor that conversation based on their level of ability and based on their age. Is this something that you need to discuss? Like, oh, it's really hard, we can't go to see friends because right now we're trying to stay safe by keeping distance. What does that mean? And what are some ways that we can stay connected to our friends, to our loved ones, whether that's video phone calls, whether it's playing video games with friends online, multiplayer games, whether it's perhaps now we're in a situation where we can meet sometimes in the park and be outdoors and have that as a time that we're together and to be able to celebrate those moments of reprieve. It's also important that we attend to our basic needs. We have to eat well, we have to drink water and stay hydrated, and we have to get good sleep. Those are such foundational necessities for waking up and having the ability to face our day and go through something that's difficult. We sometimes take it for granted and we forget, or the stress maybe impacts our sleep patterns, or it may impact our eating patterns, which then impact sleep. But it's being mindful of what is it my body needs, how can I provide it? And at the same time, knowing that there's going to be moments you're going to miss. And maybe you're going to eat stuff that's not going to help you, or you're not going to get the exercise that you need, or you're not going to go to sleep at a time that you should because you know it's better for you. We all do that, all of us. And so it's also giving ourselves that moment of grace and knowing we're not perfect and we're just going to keep trying and we're achieving these goals and being models for our children. You know, our children are going to see us struggle. And so if we pretend that we're not having difficulty, then what are we teaching them? Are we teaching them to hide any difficulties from us? Are we teaching them they can't trust us? Or are we teaching them by telling them, hey, yeah, this is hard for me too. Why don't we think about ways that we can, why don't we think of strategies or things that we can do to make ourselves feel better? It's amazing the ideas that the children will come up with. And if they're not strategies that work for you, they're certainly going to be strategies that potentially work for them. And to get them to brainstorm and to come up with ideas, they'll buy into it a lot more. Not any one thing is going to work all the time. And so it's knowing we have to try and make things so smoother for our children. We have to try and take care of ourselves so we can take care of them. But that there are going to be times we're going to make a misstep, and that's okay too.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That's a lot of good information there. And we're going to end this part one. And we will be back in a few weeks to share some more coping strategies or some more issues that maybe our children are facing in these very uncertain times. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.